31-year-old Aisha Nelson and her 6-year-old daughter, Harper Monroe, would leave Newark, New Jersey, and move to Dayton, Ohio, to be with her boyfriend, Waverly Rashad Hayes, 32 years old, who went by the name Dante. She ended up staying at 337 Burleigh Avenue. That home, along with several others on Burleigh Ave, they were owned by Dante's father. Before Aisha's arrival, there had been incidents at that house. It was shot up, and a few others on the block. Aisha would say in her own words that someone was looking for Dante's cousin. At the time, Dante's young daughter was inside the house. She could have been killed. Aisha wanted to feel safe and secure for her and her daughter, so she purchased a gun for protection. After 10 months of living together, there seemed to be tension in the home that night. The couple had been arguing all day. They would continue into the wee hours of the morning. Some sources say the argument stemmed from a PlayStation game. However, the argument had gotten so bad that Dante's father had to stop by the home to see if he could defuse the situation. It doesn't seem that he was successful. The Dayton Police Department would receive 3 calls from Aisha and 1 from Dante. There was a domestic dispute at the home. When the police officers arrived at almost 2 a.m., you could see the look on Aisha's face as she answered the door. She was worried, annoyed, scared, maybe all 3. She explained that she didn't want the police to come to the house. It was a male and a female police officers. They would speak to the couple separately. Aisha came outside to speak to the female officer, Catherine Santos, and the male officer, Terrell Moore, went inside the home to speak with Dante. I was having technical difficulties with the video in its entirety, but you need to see it. You need to see the entire video if you haven't. Her reactions, her moments, her thinking, what she said. She was, to me, a woman that was hurt, sad, and confused at the circumstances that she was currently in. A lot of people say that she was a stubborn woman that just didn't want to leave. I think she really didn't think it was going to get this bad. She thought that it was going to blow over.
You talk to her, I'll talk to you.
So he threatened me. He was like, I purchased a gun for the house because I just moved here last September. His daughter was here last year, and someone came through the block and shot every house up because he was looking for his cousin. His dad owns this house, that house, a house across the street, and a house down the street, I believe. His daughter was on the couch, and they almost shot her. So, and
his
then,
dad's name. I think I know his dad.
Does
his dad live in like one of these?
No, he doesn't live in one of these houses. He owns.
So I remember a guy that bought up a bunch of houses on Burleigh. He was living in the one while he was fixing it up.
Was he? Okay. I know he owns this one, that one, and there's one like a little bit further down.
Yeah, because I remember him saying that he's gonna like basically rent all of them to his family. So.
Yep, that's him. His name is Adrian. Yeah.
He seems like a good guy.
He's nice. I love his dad. But I was like, okay, so cause he just went upstairs. Like I was sleeping upstairs, me and my daughter went up there, cause there's a door. So we had some privacy. He just kicked the bathroom door in. So he came up there. He started arguing with me again. He kept calling me bitch, like in front of my daughter. It did upset me. I'll admit, like I say, get the fuck out of here. Like leave me alone. So he went in the closet and grabbed the gun.
It was up to Aisha if she wanted to go. if it didn't happen that night, it may have happened another night. Aisha would explain that Dante had been waving that gun around and threatening to kill her. And she did not like the way that he was speaking to her. He referred to her as bitches multiple times. And her daughter was there to witness this. Matter of fact, his 9-year-old daughter was there as well. The couple, they don't have children together. Aisha explained since she moved into that house, she had been paying rent. Dante was demanding that she leave. She even had recorded him telling her that this would not be good for her if she stayed. He did threaten to kill her more than once in that recording. The police officer asked her, did she want to go to a women's shelter or a YWCA? Aisha said she could sleep in her car. That's all she had. But she didn't think it was fair that her and her daughter should leave when she was paying the rent. Though it was Dante's father's house, she was paying the rent. She implied that Dante hadn't paid anything. Aisha spoke about how Dante's daughter's mother was in that house in a previous abusive relationship with him, and that he had threatened her as well and had threatened his female family members to intervene if she hadn't left. But Aisha wasn't leaving. She refused. She said that he didn't want her to live there in peace and he didn't want her to leave in peace. He had cut up her credit cards and drained her bank account. She didn't even have the money to leave. She had nowhere to go in Ohio and she knew nobody. Her family was in New Jersey. The female police officer even said that a woman's shelter wasn't that good. Officer Santos even explained about her own situation, that her and her estranged husband slept under the same roof for 3 years, and it was different, but he was a cop too. Santos was trying to give the feeling that she felt safe. I actually chuckled at that one. Cops commit crimes against their spouses too. But this is Aisha's story. She kept it secured in a safe with a lock on it, away from the children. Now Dante had it and he was waving it around. And in the basement, rocking back and forth in the chair. She was scared a little bit, that's why she called. But I believe she had a strong feeling that he wouldn't harm her. This was the first fight that they had had and gotten into like this. And I believe that Aisha was hoping that this would just blow over. She too had been in a prior abusive relationship, and she had to root herself then, and she didn't want to reroute herself this time. Both of them had actually said that the relationship was over. Dante agreed that with the police that he was going to stay in the basement and Aisha upstairs with her daughter. Both Officer Moore and Santos didn't feel like there was an imminent danger in this situation. Quote, "I hope we never meet again," end quote. That was said by Officer Santos while leaving Aisha. About an hour later, Aisha's family called Dayton police for a welfare check. It had to be issued on Aisha and Harper. They could not get in touch with Aisha. Meanwhile, Dante had dropped his daughter off at his father's home, though he knew his father wasn't there at the time, and he had told his father what he had done. When police arrived back to 337 Burleigh Avenue, both Aisha and her daughter Harper were found dead in the basement. They had been shot to death, and Dante was on the run. Hours later in Huntsville, Alabama, His car was spotted. He was inside. He had died by a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Aisha's law was issued in Ohio. It's to improve how law enforcement officers will respond to domestic violence cases. If need be, someone will have to be removed from the home. The officers will have to make the call. The law was passed in May 2020, almost 2 years before Aisha Nelson would move to Ohio. A 6th grade teacher by the name of Aisha Frazier was killed by her ex-husband, former Cuyahoga County Common Judge, lawmaker, and politician, Lance Mason. He would stab his wife, Aisha Frazier, 59 times to death in front of their daughters. Aisha Nelson family actually did have a lawsuit. They believe that more could have been done to protect Aisha and Harper. They believe that the gun may have been taken away. If you actually do get a chance to look at the video, they do run both Dante and Aisha in. They actually, for a second, thought that Aisha had a situation back in New Jersey where she couldn't even have a gun, but Aisha said, "No, that's my twin sister. That's not me." And for a second I was thinking, we all have a twin sister when we're in trouble, you know. But unfortunately, this woman did. She had a twin sister. She had a family back in New Jersey. And I really wish she would have went to a women's shelter and they would have definitely helped her get back to New Jersey. I wish things would have turned out different for Aisha Nelson and Harper. We don't know what happened in that house after the police left. People just could come to conclusions and say she was a stubborn woman that didn't want to leave. Maybe she was a woman that was hoping that this was just a fight that was going to end. And it did end. It ended badly.